I've got a cool project I want to talk to you about. I am Haggis Burridge, pronouns he or they, and I'm going to be talking to you about the VPSN project. It's a fun project we've been running for a couple of years now, and you're going to be learning all about it. One of the things that I'm talking about here is very much about how to teach virtual production shoot preparation when you don't actually have a virtual production screen nearby you. So this is kind of an Erasmus Plus project, but we're going to go into that in more detail in a moment. So to start off with, hello. Hi, I hope you're having a nice day so far. I am Haggis Burridge. If you're on Twix, then I'm Haggis. If you're on Blue Sky, you can find me there. I work here at Breda University of Applied Sciences in the Netherlands, and I am the Professor of Creative and Entertainment Video Games. So I look at media technologies and how they can be applied in different ways, how game engines can be applied to different fields, which obviously led us towards particularly Unreal Engine being integrated with virtual production in the media. I am by trade a video game designer and writer for video games. I have been working on video games for over 20 years now, probably coming up for 25 years. People probably know Burnout Paradise. You might know Aliens vs. Predator. You've heard of Resident Evil, probably, and various other things that I've been working on. So I still do writing and consultancy for the video game industry. I'm best known, perhaps these days, as a game writer rather than designer, alongside the work that I do with the research work here. And lots of other things too. So I'm on the video game committee for the Writers Guild. If you ever release a video game with a story, submit to our awards. I'm part of the Society of Authors. I'm one of the external evaluators for Creative Europe Media. If you're interested in getting funding for your productions, I encourage you to apply to the Film Fund or the Game Fund, because there is money out there to help you make the products that you want to do. And people like me, who've been doing this for a long time, get to read your applications. I have a small consultancy business on the side for this kind of stuff too. In essence, I'm a researcher, I'm a writer, and I'm a consultant for this kind of things. And I'm going to be talking to you today about VPSN, an Erasmus Plus project. So what the hell is Erasmus Plus? As people from the industry, you might not necessarily be particularly familiar with this. So Erasmus Plus projects are funded by the European Union, and the goal is very much to develop the quality and excellence of education in Europe. It is very much that focus. We hopefully have international impact across the world, but the real focus here is European education. Now this has different sections and can fund a very, very big variety of activities within this. We have workshops where we can invite people in and get people learning different types of activities. We have the creation of teaching materials. So, for example, we might produce a slide deck that we then distribute to places all across the world so they can teach education based on research and get the cutting edge without every single academy having to develop their own stuff. It's a nice thing. We have student exchanges. So one of the things about the European Union is like political, cultural, and economic harmony. So we don't go to war with each other. So one of the best ways of not going to war with people is to go live there for a while and go, they're not that much different from us, are they? How about we work together rather than shooting each other? That would be nice. Lecturer mobility works a similar way, that staff from the different academies can go across to different places, working across Europe, getting to know other researchers. So most of the projects require a university and/or businesses to group together in what is known as a consortium. A consortium, a small group of businesses or university, then apply for funding to Erasmus Plus to create stuff which is going to elevate education, but also elevate your business. And so this is something that I really want to kind of think about this. We divide these into work packages, defining what you want and how they are going to be producing excellence and shaping education in the future, the workforce that you might want to employ in the future. And if you are here from a business or are here from a different university, I really encourage you to think about what an Erasmus Plus project could do to fund activities within your business to help you create the best education for the future. So there is money in this. Do reach out to universities and work with them. Except if you're in the UK, sorry, UK dropped out of Erasmus Plus. Thanks, Boris Johnson. Anyway, I will move on from Brexit. My broken heart bleeds. So what sort of things can the Erasmus Plus funding do? Well, one of the projects we've been doing recently is a project called Greening Games. So Green in Games is very much about building higher education resources on the theme of sustainability. It's about creating knowledge and teaching materials and critical ideas about how sustainability works within video games. This is about the content of video games, how it can reflect ecological themes, how the mechanics of video games can embody things that we can do as individuals to change, and how also video games can be made in a more sustainable way. So it's trying to work across the chain here to create the change that we all need to do. And we all know that if the petrochemical industry doesn't change, then we're all kind of fucked. But we also know that if they do change, everybody else has to do their part. And as an industry, we are a percentage of that worldwide carbon footprint. We all need to do a bit to improve the sustainability of the world. So that's one of the projects we're doing at the moment. That's going to be wrapping up later this year. If you want to know more about that, it's greeningames.eu. That's URL and a little bit more information about it could be found at lunchtime, wherever the lunch booth is. But yes, there'll be a table out with some more information about that if you're interested. Another one that we're doing is called Panorama. Panorama is a really nice study which we're doing, which is has a brilliant consortium. I'm so happy about the people we're working with here. We've got an animation workshop leading all of this. We've got some great universities. We've got some great things. We've got some really nice businesses. You might recognize names like Digic and Rise. We've got supported people like Epic Games and Unity and the Rookies and Ubisoft and Adobe. These aren't all just like tiny little businesses doing this. There's lots of big people around the world who are really interested in making sure the quality of education is good. And so you too could be part of doing this and get money for some of the stuff that you do. So this particular project is about looking at the level of skills and knowledge that a graduate has and how close they are to the needs of the industry. So I'm sure if you're from a business here and you've employed a graduate, in some ways you're like, oh my God, they know all this cool stuff and they're so excited. In other ways you're like, oh wow, they don't know that. They haven't learned how to talk with a team. They haven't learned how this particular thing works. And so really what this project is about is trying to understand how we match up the skills at graduation level to the needs of the industry. And again, we're consulting with a huge amount of people to try and make sure this works, to give you great students. So on that topic of trying to find great students, we can move on a little bit. But if you want more information about Panorama, again, there will be information available at the break. So that leads us to VPSN. That's the main project I'm here to talk to you about. So virtual production from studio to classroom. We at BUAS have been working on virtual productions for quite a while now, and we really wanted to make sure that this was integrated in education. And Erasmus Plus gave the funding to do this in collaboration with a brilliant set of partners. So we're very happy to be working on this project together. So what is VPSN? VPSN, Virtual Production Studio Network, VPSN project. It began in 2022. And it's driven by a few key problems that we noticed from the industry here. One of them is that virtual production screens are rare. You know, they're expensive, they need a lot of space. This is, for something like for a university to do, this is incredible investment. It's huge, not just in terms of money, but the amount of space that it just takes up in the room here. When we built the virtual production screen we have at BUAS, this was the first virtual production screen on a campus in mainland Europe. So we really understood that most students are going to graduate without ever having used one of these. So that's a problem, because if this is such an important future technology and students aren't using it, that creates an issue. Because the industry needs experienced talent. You need people who can walk in and know at least the basics of what they're doing. So even educators with an industry background, they're typically never going to use virtual production either. So that's an issue. If you've got teachers kind of going, virtual production, I hear it's useful, yeah. That's great, but if they've never done it themselves, if they've never had access to the hardware, then they're not gonna have that kind of hands-on knowledge to really be able to inspire their students, talk about the nuances of when it's useful, when it's not useful, talk about moire effects and how you can do, how it works most powerfully when the camera moves in a certain way. All these different things that you get from having used it and tried it and fucked up or done something brilliant. By the way, we swear quite a lot in lecturing in the Netherlands. Much more so than in the UK. UK, if I said fuck or shit or stuff like that, people would be like, in the Netherlands, people are like, fuck it. So It's something that we're very much aware of, that educators also need to have this hands-on knowledge as well. So graduates won't often have that knowledge and skills needed to have a competitive edge in the market. We want them to have that. We want them to get out there and be knowledgeable about what they're using. So how do we fix that? Because all my great desires in the world is not going to make a VP screen cheaper or take up less space on a campus. So can we fix this? So one option is obviously build VP screens everywhere. Every campus gets you get a VP screen, you get a VP screen. It's not going to be that easy. Or the other option is see how effectively we can share a virtual production screen among a group of universities. Is it possible to share these effectively? And that was kind of the core driving question that we had beneath on the VPSM project. And we think it's an important question. It's one of those ones you kind of go, yeah, that's something we need to know how to do. So how effectively can we share a screen? Well, to test this in the VPSM project, we set up a series of activities that would produce educational experiences for lecturers and for the students. We're producing teaching materials and producing knowledge and educational policy as well, ways to inform places about how we should go about using the resources that we collectively have in education in Europe. We brought together lecturers from Denmark. We've got over in Denmark, we've got the animation workshop there. We've got Norway, Nord University. We've got Portugal in IPCA, and obviously ourselves, Breda University. And we had to bring these workshops together so they could play with the the virtual production hardware, learn about the software, learn about the pipelines, learn about the methodologies, and the considerations, particularly for pre-production. Because one of the things we wanted to be able to do was test, can we do remote pre-production where students have never touched the hardware at all, and then come on campus for a week and film something and be successful? Because that way we can begin to start sharing this hardware much more effectively. So they got a chance to play around with the screen. The lecturers came in for their workshops. They were just like, what can we do with this? What can we do? Oh, we could try, does a time lapse work? How does a time lapse work? Can we do that? Can we fake time lapses with a virtual production screen? It's like, well, actually, yeah, you kind of can. And this was just on their first thing. And it's people just coming in, having a play around and just seeing what they can do, seeing how they could control slow movement on the cameras, how they can control the lighting, how much movement will a person need to make that look like it's convincing. So we really went for this kind of idea of hands-on education. At BUAS, we really believe people learn best by doing. You need to get your hands on, you need to make mistakes, you need to get things right and get things wrong. So we took the lecturers through the pre-production process, including things like script analysis and storyboarding, shot breakdowns, hands-on training with the equipment, and much, much more. We've got all of this stuff in these 3 training manuals, which you can download from our website, from the vpstudionetwork.com. If you go to the knowledge, teaching, and workshop material, there's 3 handbooks there, full of great information, full of links and training videos to help people understand how to do this. Again, the website link will be available over the lunchtime if you're interested in finding that. But yeah, that's just the table of content of the first one there. And then we sent the lecturers back to their own universities to see if they could run pre-production for a virtual production shoot entirely off-site with no access to this hardware. So the first day that the students would have access to the VP things, the VP stage would be their first day of filming. We gave the students all the handbooks, a pre-made scene in Unreal, which was this really vast greenhouse with all this lush foliage everywhere and lighting set up and optimized and stuff like this. We gave them on the sort of target length, which was going to be 1 minute. That was what they had to try and film. And they worked together to develop pitches for the film. They wrote their own story. They consulted with the lecturers on feasibility and technical requirements. They set all this stuff up. And after a few months of preparation, alongside their other courses, so this is extracurricular for them, so they were still doing this. They arrived at BUAS, and this was their first time on a virtual production stage, and they would have to complete their shoot within 5 days. Was it possible? Did it happen? Did it work? Can students be prepared without hands-on time purely if their lecturers are given access beforehand? Well, judge for yourselves. Hopefully that's going to play. If it doesn't, I will click it here. It's fine. Well, there you go. You've got a still screen. this was downloaded onto the slides, so we didn't have this problem. You know those things where it works on the slides in advance and you build up all the tension and you go, oh, fuck. QuickTime not available. So that's not going to work. Gosh darn it. Never mind. It's fine. We can't do it. We can't fix it now. We move on. Is there an online version? I don't know. Maybe there is. We will find it in a second. This is a shot from the film. As you can see, this is taken from the monitor. They're learning about focus distances. They've got the background moving. They've got the scenes. They've got everything moving. They've got the cameras. They had multiple setups. They had multiple shots. They did angles or they did reverse angles. They learned filming, editing. They did color correction afterwards. They did everything that you need to do a film successfully on their first attempt. Is it Hitchcock? No, not quite. But it is, for a first student project, pretty damn good. So it is possible to do this. That's what we've learned from this. You may have noticed, or you may notice from this shot here, it doesn't involve a greenhouse. It was also twice as long as we recommended that it should be, but they got ambitious and they pulled it off. So we could say that students don't do what they're told, if we're being a little bit unfair. But I think, or more fairly, we could also say that creative students, given inspiration, given support and access to tools, and well, they are going to surpass your expectations, even on their first shoot. It is possible to teach pre-production for virtual production off-site, as long as they have a little bit of access there. And then they've got the important skills and knowledge they need to go into the industry with you. So the VPSM project successfully proved that remote pre-production is possible, multiplying the impact of a single VP screen across multiple different universities, which I think is a really significant contribution to education in Europe. So what's next? Well, we are applying to have this run again. We are trying to do this with a new consortium to spread this to extra universities, because obviously it's only a small group at the moment. We want to reach out to more people. The VP handbooks are available online. Please do check them out if you're interested in getting those. And we're going to be sharing this project at other venues, inspiring more students and teachers to embrace the VP process. So hopefully in future years, you're going to have more educated, more knowledgeable, more skilled graduates that you want to apply in your businesses. And generally at BUAS, we're going to keep on running research into virtual production. We're going to be building tools, trying new systems, running experiments, and sharing our results at places like this. And of course, we're going to keep on organizing the VP gathering. So I hope you enjoy that thing. In conclusion, VPSM project has shown it's possible to use one VP facility to train lecturers and students from multiple academies, even internationally. This has implications for how universities should collaborate to support VP production in the future. And we hope that you've enjoyed this very much quick look, very slightly rushed quick look before lunchtime, at one way that BUAS R&D and the VPSN Consortium is supporting VP development across Europe. If you want to find out more, there's going to be a booth with additional information about VPSN, also links for the Greening Games and Panorama projects around at lunchtime, so you can find out more about those. Thank you very, very much for listening. We hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Sorry the film didn't show you. We'll try and get it another way. We have a hand up. Bam, bam, bam. Now that is building suspense, isn't it?
Now, where are you?
Have we got audio? I can try and ad-lib the script. I'm very concerned. I've got the information that you wanted, but I'm not happy with the arrangements for our meeting place. I'm very concerned. Am I going to have to do the lines again?
Where are you? Yes, now where are you? Hurry up, please. You know I'm asking for a lot of trouble just by doing this. Yeah, well, it's hard for people to know the truth if they can't find it. So where are you?
Almost there.
I'm sitting with an umbrella.
Umbrella? I didn't know it was raining.
It isn't. It just so you know it's me.
I see. You always take your precautions. A very clever person.
You should have been here by now. What's going on?
I'm here.
What? Where?
Very close. Don't worry.
I can't see you. Which side are you coming from?
I said, don't worry.
Where, goddammit? I don't have time for this shit. If you don't come now, I just gonna go. Other people want this information just as bad as you do.
I'm sorry. Could you just lift your umbrella a tiny bit so I know it's you? Just to make sure, Mary. Not everyone needs to know the truth, Mary.
That's good. I have to say, for a first project, for a first thing they've first time ever using this hardware, I think it's really damn impressive what the students pulled together. And I think that it just shows what you can do when you give people a good introduction and the power of this cool technology to create something fun and good looking. You know, that's a good portfolio piece for them. So on that note, if we could switch back to the slides, please, just for a second. I want to say once again, thank you very much for listening for all of this. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. I have been Matt Haggis Burridge. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.